Okay, we're back live inside theCUBE, our flagship telecast where we go out to the events and talk to the smartest entrepreneurs, developers, executive geeks, entrepreneurs, whoever we can find to get the information and share that with you. We're here live in the Node Summit in San Francisco where Node.js is having its inaugural kind of geeky meets business conference. It's not pure developer conference, but it's pretty much the geeks building out a new industry. It's really cloud focused, cloud developer, DevOps, and I'm John Furrier, the founder of SiliconANGLE.com, SiliconANGLE.tv, and we'll be launching DevOps Angle, a new vertical this week, so look for that on SiliconANGLE.com or DevOpsAngle.com, and we're going to cover all the angles of DevOps, and I'm here with Bruno Frenandez-Ruiz from Yahoo. Now, what's your title?
I'm a Vice President and Architect Fellow on the Platform Group.
So, Vice President, so you're a top guru over there on the large scale side. Todd P., Dr. Lucky Spin was the cloud guy earlier at Yahoo. He's gone doing his new thing. He just announced his startup. So Yahoo's huge. We're not going to talk about the Yahoo conversations that everyone else is talking about, which is new CEO from Stonehill, Massachusetts, my neck of the woods, or any of the other stuff. But we're going to get more into the geeky side of Yahoo. Huge infrastructure, a lot of volume, a lot of traffic, a lot of cloud, a lot of large scale. Just to keep the lights operational is pretty complex. Can you just share with us some of the geeky complexity involved in what's going on over there right now?
Yeah, so one of the things you need to look at is 21 billion page views daily. It's a lot of page views, and they're only the likes of Facebook and Google and maybe Amazon that really drive that. And those are not just static impressions, but actually you have to compose a page. There's a lot of recommendations, targeting, personalization happens on the page. It's not just one little node on the stack, it's actually many layers on the stack. They're doing analytics, they're doing ranking, they're doing search, they're doing content management, and putting all of that together for 700 million users is the complexity of running big, large distributed systems that can fail at any moment. Hardware failures are constant, network failures are constant, and you have to design for failure.
So in this Node Summit, Node.js is the new black, if you will, on the developer community. It has a real-time element to it. They talk about kind of being a programming environment for people who don't want to be a threading guru or a low-level programmer. What's your take on that? I mean, what do you think of the Node.js and the benefits of it and how relevant it is in the production environment? There's some use cases out there. LinkedIn's doing some stuff with their mobile app. You know, how much of this is real? Where's the upside? How much work needs to get done with Node.js? Is it ready for prime time? Take your choice of that.
Many questions there.
Take your choice. Jump right in.
So for one thing, event-driven programming, we've been doing it for a long time. We've been doing it with Inktomi Traffic Server, that became Yahoo Traffic Server. We donated to the open source community as Apache Traffic Server. We sustain between 75,000 and 250,000 connections with each of these nodes, which is superb. So the event programming model works. It's very complex from a programming developer, from the actual programming standpoint, not to completely mess up your head with it. Now, for us, we had enough of this technology. As a matter of fact, all our recommendation systems, our targeting systems, they follow a similar event loop programming, whether it's in C++ or in Java. The issue for us for Node.js, and actually Node.js, was can we shift the computation from the client side to the server side? And the reason this is important is because if you look at the last 40 years, CPU compute density has increased maybe 1 million times. Networks had only improved by a factor of 1,000. So, you know, the phone that we carry in our pockets could do what a computer could do maybe 20 years ago, but the network is a little
3G.
bit better only. It's flaky, it reconnects, it keeps dropping packets, and the experience that you get is bad. So, you know, you cannot rely just on building apps. The apps are going to become disconnected at some point, and the question is, how do I build the apps so that they still work if they're disconnected? Our thinking is that we want the same code to run on the client on the server side. And that's what Node.js is interesting for us. It's not to solve all the infrastructure problems behind Yahoo that are very complex for search and recommendation. It's just for that stream layer that if it doesn't run on the iPad, it doesn't run on an Android tablet, it runs on our servers and you still get an experience. Emerging markets, Indonesia, extremely important.
What's the implications to you guys? First of all, how much Node are you doing at Yahoo? A lot, a little? Dabbling
quite a lot
shipping?
and growing. We call the program cocktails. Our strategy is to keep growing adoption, all the new properties that are being rolled out, They're going to come onto the new stack. We going to target what we call continuous experiences. It's not just PC, it's not tablet, it's not iPhone. It's something that you start one place, you move to another place. It's continuous. All of that is basically going to be based on Cocktails. It's going to run on our Manhattan cloud platform. It's going to run using Mojito as a JavaScript model view controller framework. Full bet on Node.js and JavaScript as the technology that will enable us to do this.
Have you guys thought of taking some of this great code and expertise and bottling it up as a product to enterprises?
No, we've thought about making parts of it open source to create further community and leverage. This is a problem during the panel that we just had. There was a question about JavaScript frameworks. And it's a very good question that there isn't anything good right now that you can do client and server side. We think we have something good, we're going to open source it to try and grow a community around it. It's good for us and it's good for a lot of people that will be able to use it and contribute. In terms of enterprise software, we want to provide a service. We're going to provide a cloud-based platform as a service for these Mojits, those Mojitos, lifestyle applications that people can create for publishers, the likes of Forbes, Source Interlink, ABC News, and so forth.
So really the consumer focus, not business to business.
That's
so
they're publishers are business, but they're
it's kind of that whole consumerization of IT, right? Is happening.
Yeah,
I mean, actually, is happening. Although it's not just bullshit anymore. It's actually happening, and that's the challenge that the big IT shops have: is that they really want a Yahoo-like environment without all the headaches that you guys went through. So that's what's interesting about Joyance and these new approaches is that they want that web-like scale that you've had to, through brute force, build. And Facebook and Twitter. And so what I'm trying to tease out is what your key lessons were that you learned there from a development standpoint. Because a lot of these companies don't have that background. They don't have the background in developers. Most of them have outsourced it mostly and they have administrators basically that sit inside. So the challenge is the app market's exploding with developers like here at Node.js, what is available. So I was trying to tease out how real Node is through this thing, and I'm sensing that the developer uptake is good. How would you peg that uptake in terms of the developers? Would you say on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being obviously totally mature, a 1 or 2? Or 3?
In terms of the developer uptake, the pure uptake on developers, I think we're probably not at 3. It's a very fast, very exponential growth. It's one of the hottest technologies that you can be currently investing on. It has a lot of promise. It has a lot of hard work to put on. We put a lot of hard work to basically harden it, to be able to run search, to be able to run lifestyle, to be able to run the products that we do. And we suspect that most enterprise houses, they don't want to do that. The same way that they don't want to run their own publishing systems, they don't want to run their own CRMs, they don't want to run an ERP system. They just go and buy it or somebody runs for them, as Salesforce, right? We want to be exactly doing that. We built a good stack. We call it the Yahoo Publishing Platform. We want to start offering this to other publishers. And Node.js and Manhattan are that shim layer that will give them that connected device experience.
So a couple questions, and then we'll go on to other things. But Hadoop has been a big part of Yahoo's DNA with the whole background with Hadoop. Obviously Hortonworks, kind of a spin out there, got Cloudera out there, but mainly Hortonworks, a lot of ex-Yahoo. How much Hadoop do you have in your infrastructure is the first question. And then the second question is, to get some big-time developers, what's cool at Yahoo right now from a geek standpoint? What's going on there that you could say, hey, this is a cool project, this is some cool development to attract those kind of developers?
Mm-hmm.
So
Hadoop is so we still invest heavily in Hadoop. We're still driving the community, we're driving the commits. We're working very closely with Hortonworks and things like the next generation resource manager. Is fundamental to our business. All our pipelines, data pipelines, our advertising, our recommendation systems, the front page, everything on Yahoo really runs on Hadoop. So that continues to be the case. In terms of the hot, exciting technologies, right? So Node.js is definitely one of them. We're working hard with it. We're working hard with JavaScript. But a lot of other opportunities in other areas, Hadoop being one of them. The things like our infrastructure as a service, our virtualization layer. We have a private cloud that we're working on, very exciting thing for people to work on. Search technology, even though we're not on the deep web crawl search, we still need to search and rank items, structured data, web of objects, and so forth. So people with an information retrieval background, extremely good place to be for very large-scale problems. Things like edge technologies and network people who care about TCP and HTTP and networking and being as close as possible to the user. Apache Traffic Server, I was just mentioning, we have the next generation version of that. Leading technologies, Sherpa Peanuts, which is our distributed NoSQL store. We've been leading, we published the paper in 2006, and we have innovated. We have a technology that is probably among the best in the industry, together with the Cassandras and the MongoDBs that exist out there. And they can come and work in that technology. So in terms of technology, extremely exciting and a large number of opportunities that developers can join.
You guys doing any HBase? A lot of HBase?
We use HBase, yes, we do.
Good experiences with it? I mean, it's very efficient, but hard to program. It's new.
It's new. We've
smirk there.
been careful about how people use it. We're wrapping it with
credentials.
A nice API.
You can only touch the HBase. None of IQ level. It's hard. I mean,
that's basically it.
It's pretty hard.
That's basically
Yeah,
we're protecting developers from being able to use it directly. We're wrapping the usage, but we have probably one of the largest HBase deployments in the world.
What do you use HBase mainly for?
Web crawl cache.
Web crawl cache? Okay, cool. Vision. Last question. As the social web becomes more and more mature, we're seeing things like just this cloud space here. The Heroku get bought by Salesforce. Just a few years ago, they were a startup. A lot of the public cloud entrepreneurs in this area, large-scale PhD guys at Stanford graduating. You're seeing some maturity in this marketplace, and you guys have been a leader in that. What's your vision for this world of social web and the web? I really call it Web 2.0. This is really the Web 2.0, but we'll say Web 3.0 for the sake of another extra digit. But what's the vision that you see coming around the corner beyond today?
So I will not comment on the product experience because I think that's become a Hollywood production game. Maybe you're good, maybe you're not.
Yeah.
Technology-wise, trend-wise,
yeah. Code
real-time web is changing. It's going to change the way we understand devices. Devices are always connected now, better or worse, but they're always connected. The ability to shift the cloud to the device itself, the ability to become real-time connected, your device becomes part of the cloud. We'll start to see that the storage on device actually joins the storage on the cloud. The compute on device joins the compute on the cloud. And what you end up having is I/O being transferred between these elements of a big cloud. Data peers on a big network. You want to call it is peer-to-peer synced real-time web or something like that.
So you're saying is systems programming is coming back into vogue?
And it's hard.
And
that's why things like Node.js are necessary for people to grab.
Creating a simpler way to not to screw up HBase or real-time.
To expose the I/O access to HBase, yes. Exactly that.
Okay. All right, Bruno. Thank you very much for coming on Inside theCUBE. That was a really epic